Bourbon. Belts. Blockbusters. You are listening to the Triple B Podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to a new episode of the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. I'm Tim.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the show where we get to sip on some bourbon.
Yes, we do.
We get to talk about some wrestling.
You're damn right.
And we're going to talk about some blockbusters.
Darn tootin'.
Let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
We have our second week, the semifinals of the King of the Burbs tournament.
And the semis gave me a semi.
There was some shockers in this one, at least for me, and I think you could say the same. But
Yes, I was definitely shocked throughout, but you will check that out on our socials.
yes, you will. And in the meantime, spoiler alert, these are the losers
Yes.
of
They did not
the
win.
semifinals. So, in spirit of last week, we took some of the losers, and that's what we sipped on throughout the episode.
Yes.
We
We're doing the
dwindled
same
it
thing
down
here.
to 4 this week, and these were the 2 losers, making it very
Yes.
simple to choose which ones we're going to sip on. So,
Yeah.
on my side, I'm going with my birthday bourbon. Ryan so graciously got me.
Absolutely.
This was the McFarland Reserves, the MR16. Gave it 11, I believe, on that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Shocking. Again.
Again,
We gave that an 11 out of 10, and it is sitting here in the fucking the garbage bin
the loser's
of,
bracket.
of the tournament. It was dethroned, unseated. It
Yes,
was beat.
Yes, it was.
Over on my side, I also have one of the losers in the semifinals round, which is the Center Stave. It's a port wine cask bourbon, which actually kind of works out perfect. That was your birthday one. I love me a good wine cask bourbon.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what we're sipping on throughout the episode today. You'll have to go ahead and tune in again next week to find out which of the 2 final bourbons wins the tournament.
Hell yeah. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, man.
How did that not make the finals?
I know. I know. It's wild. It really is.
So good. So
We
good.
both thought that this was going to be the finals.
Yep.
And this is what we're sipping on right now.
Such
Crazy.
is life, right?
It's crazy.
Such
Yeah.
is life.
Kind of like some of the shockers in some of the tournament matches we've had in the wrestling that we're going to get to here in a little bit.
Yes, indeed.
That brings us to our socials. We are at Trip B Pod on Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok. We are the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Podcasts. And we have our Gmail, triplebpod619@gmail.com. Hit us up there. Email us, send us messages, send us questions, send us bourbon suggestions, wrestling move suggestions for our cash-ins on social media. Anything that you want us to know that you think would be worthwhile, hit us up there.
That brings us over to the bourbon talk of the show.
Oh, yeah.
It's my fact check turn, so let's get right into it. It wasn't too bad of a show for fact checking.
Well, that's good. That's really good considering we were feeling pretty good.
Yes.
We were 16 bourbons deep last week when we started the show, and then we were sipping on about a finger and a half throughout the show. So
That's true.
that's
That
such
is
a
true.
weird way to measure.
Yeah.
Sipping on a finger and a half. Sounds really gross.
A finger.
Anyways,
Anywho, so let's get right to it. So, we talked about the rating of Larceny and the Ben Holiday. I think we gave Larceny a 9.5 and brought up 8.5 for the Ben Holiday. It was in reverse, actually. So, Ryan, you gave the Larceny a 9. I gave the Larceny an 8.5, so an average of an 8.75.
okay.
And then for the Ben Holiday, Ryan, you gave it a 9.5, and I gave it a 9 for an average of 9.25. So it was literally flip-flop on the rankings on that.
All right.
Wild Robot grossing ranking. So I brought up that it was in the top 10. You did some research, couldn't find anything, and I did deeper research on it just to clarify. It is in the top 100 ranking, and where I saw the top 10 was since 2020. It was post-COVID.
Gotcha, post-COVID.
And there's a lot of like
grossing. Okay.
A lot of, theaters weren't open and a lot of things weren't doing so good because we got direct to streaming and all that stuff. So it ended up being in the top 10 animated films since 2020.
In the last 5 years. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yes.
That also makes sense why I didn't find it, because I didn't like look for that specific of a parameter. So
when did R-Truth sign with WWE? We brought it up, and you said 1999. I just wanted to clarify. It was 1999.
Look at me.
And
look at me pulling wrestling facts out. Come on, Tim. You got to be proud of me on that.
Golf clap.
Come on.
Golf clap.
I'm just going to give myself a little.
And he is I mean, it might take a little more research, but I think from what I've read, he's the last wrestler active from the Attitude Era, which makes sense to me. That's insane.
Yeah.
Of all characters.
Is fucking wild. Holy shit.
Of all characters, R-Truth is still hanging with them. How many matches has Alexa Bliss won since being back? We believed it was 2, 3 being her Queen of the Ring.
Fatal 4-Way.
Fatal 4-Way, yes. She's won 5 matches, including that one. So a few more matches. She had a couple tag matches that kind of I forgot about as well.
Went under the radar, kind of.
Rick Moranis last acted when? Mint Mobile commercial 2020. You did bring up Ryan Reynolds commercial, and that Mint Mobile. And then his final movie credit was Brother Bear 2 in 2006, an animated film. They Live came out in 1988. Just wanted to clarify that. And then was John Carpenter known for his composing, his music? And there's not really a way to fact check
that's a
that,
hard one for sure.
But he did have 7 movies that he composed leading up until They Live, including Halloween. So I would say he's kind of known for his music then.
Were we saying he was or wasn't? I can't remember.
Wasn't because we thought it was early on to his career.
Okay.
Who did Roddy Piper fight in They Live? Because I just was like, I forget the actor's name. He was fighting in the alley. It was Keith David.
Yeah.
Heretic Award nominees. It's been nominated for a bunch of things, but lesser known award shows. The most prominent one that I could find was Critics' Choice Award, and it was for the best horror movie. And then I did see Hugh Grant nominated for Best Actor in a Film. So,
do you know? Did you happen to read it? And if not, it's not a big deal. It doesn't necessarily matter. I'm just curious. Did you happen to see what won the best horror movie for that?
I did not, but I believe it was because this was also the year of Substance and then Anora.
Yeah, because it came out 2024.
I don't know if Anora. Yeah, it came out in 2024.
Yeah.
I know.
I was just curious, but I know the Substance swept a lot of award shows. So,
and then lastly, Gladiator was directed by Ridley Scott. Both films. Gladiator 2 was directed by Ridley Scott. No co-director, so it was both Ridley Scott.
Okay.
Different writers for both movies. It looked
well,
like.
At least that was my backup answer. It wasn't my actual answer.
And that is the fact check. So not too bad.
All right.
Not too bad.
Cool.
Was it more than your week? For sure, because that's the way it always is.
You nitpick a little too.
Yes, I do. But our episode was a lot longer than the one you had.
Yes, it was. Absolutely. The one
All right.
before was a short one.
Wellness
right.
journey. Check-in number 22.
Yeah, man.
Ryan, go through your successes, challenges, and your weigh-in.
Oh, man. Been kind of rough, honestly. I had to take, like, not just this last week, but the week before, I had to, like, fully take off. I was struggling. I've been struggling. My body's been hurting. I'm still fucking hurting. And it's just all sorts of just little nagging bullshit things that just keep popping back up for me. But they all tend to, like, flare up together, it seems like, which makes it really hard to fucking do things. And it was like the last 2 weeks of school too, which were, you know, that's always like a little more stressful. I'm doing a lot more. So it was just, you know, that is what it is. So that was definitely a challenge. Was just, I physically, I was like, I have to, and you know me, just being like, I'm not doing this for the week was fucking tough. But I was like, I need to listen to my body and I need to take that. Other challenges mixed with taking a week off, food choices. Again, I mean, I'm still tracking stuff, but there are definitely days and times where I'm just like, fuck it. And probably more so than I should be.
Yeah.
Not like overwhelmingly, but it's still just, you know, there's moments where, and I think this is a good thing though, too, because it is one of those things where I am like, very aware of what I'm doing and what I'm eating and all of that, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it makes me, where years past, I would, you know, I'd fucking be lazy on a night and I'd order pizza and I would down the entire fucking extra large, like family size fucking pizza by myself. And not until like after I ate the entire thing would I be like, oh, why the fuck did I eat that? You know?
Yeah.
Where now I'm like, oh, I have 3 or 4 pieces of pizza and I'm like, fuck, I don't need to eat that much. You know what I mean? So it's like, I am still way better than I have ever been before in regards to that, but for my own personal liking, and, you know, I'm my own worst critic. So there's things that I personally could make better choices on and eat less of or whatever.
Yeah.
Successes was that I was able to get back to full-blown working out again this week. We got our new setup in our garage. Got a weight rack. We got, you know, almost 600 pounds in weights. We got, you know, we just have a pretty decent setup now in the garage to be able to work out, which is nice. Makes it a lot more open and a lot more applicable to be able to do certain things, because it's like getting to the gym, as you know, also is not always the easiest thing, or just like it's not always the thing that makes the most sense. And especially like for me and Lindsay, because especially when I'm in work, when I'm at school, it's really hard for me to be like, hey, I'm gone at work all day. I'm going to hang out at the school. I can leave at 2:40. I'm going to hang out until 3:20, and then I'm going to go to the gym at 3:30, and I'm going to be at the gym until about 4:30. That's not a good feeling for me to be like, you've been home with our daughter all day. I know you're drained. I know you're fucking like, she's probably driving you crazy, because that's just what toddlers do. Even though she is amazing, it's still like, you need a break. Right. And so it's hard for me to be like, hey, I'm going to go to the gym now after I've been at work all day. Even though it's like, I'm working, I'm not just fucking like kicking it on a golf course or at a beach or something, right? Like, I'm at my job, but still, it's just not one of those things where I'm like, you feel great about doing that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Being able to just like put Lainey down at night and then me and Lindsay just go out into the garage and do a workout together has been really nice. And so did 3 garage workouts this week. I got to 9 round yesterday as well. And now like starting this next week, I'm going to get onto a more kind of solidified workout schedule. I'm going to try to do garage workout 3 times a week and go to 9 round twice. And that'll all be in like the afternoon or evening. And me and Lindsay are going to be trying to get up and go on walks / runs in the mornings. So
hell yeah.
I should be back on a pretty good track here, barring any physical setbacks. But yeah, so that's those. The weigh-in, little bit of a disappointment, but I also kind of expected this. I didn't lose. Actually up a pound. But I'm going to be honest, I also haven't pooped today. So it's a slightly skewed weigh-in.
There you go.
I'm
Breaking news today.
Yeah, I'm a little backed up, I guess. I don't know what's happening. I'm off. I'm on summer now. I'm on summer break now, so my whole schedule's off, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so up a pound from what I was the last 2 weigh-ins now, because I've been I feel like I'm kind of in a plateau at the moment as well. So hopefully I can bust through that in the next couple. I'm gonna literally in like 9 days I leave for Hawaii for a week though too. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes. My plan is to
You got to live life though, right?
Yes. But my plan is also to work out while we're in Hawaii.
There you go.
We'll see how much that holds true. But that's the plan. So,
Okay.
what about you, dude?
All right. So similar to you, and I think we both said it on the same day, was last week. My body was not happy with me. I went to the gym and it was a struggle to get through that workout. Just different body parts aching, and what normally is an easy workout was not. And I was like, whoa, I gotta change my approach. So while I did get in my workouts last week, it was it was lighter for sure. It wasn't the typical workout week that I normally have. This week it was a little bit better. I got I got one more in today. I got 6 workouts in, and I mean, this week wasn't too many. I'm still having nagging pains here and there, and trying to work around that right now while keeping the workouts going. So that's been my challenges. And then there's been food here and there, but I'm not like worried about it either. Like I'm, for the most part, making good choices with also living life and enjoying. Like I got to go out to dinner with Haley, and I was like, I didn't get fries. I got a salad, but the overall meal was something that was, heavier in calories. Had some cocktails with her and got to enjoy. So there's that. Some positives. Again, I still got my workouts in, and overall feel good about that. My weigh-in, a little disappointed because I did like a little midweek check-in this week, and it was like below 220. I was super excited.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then when I did my weigh-in today, it was higher, but it's still a loss. So I am 222.6, so down 1.4 pounds from previous weigh-in. Overall down negative 40.3 pounds.
Fuck yeah.
So
you hit the fucking 40.
Hit the 40.
You hit the 40-pound loss mark. Dude. That's dope.
So it's still a
awesome.
loss. A little disappointed just because I saw what number I did have. But it was a midweek check-in, things happen between now and then, and so
and that's the thing with weight too, and like literally, like I said with mine, where I was like, I'm up a pound.
Yeah,
I'm 212.4.
Yeah,
but it's like, I also, like I said, bathroom.
Yeah,
water weight.
Yeah,
salt. There's so many things that can make your weight do this throughout a week. That isn't necessarily like. We could both weigh ourselves Monday morning and be back down to where we originally think. You know what I mean? So it's,
a loss is a loss though.
Yes,
and I'm still onward towards my trajectory, feeling good physically. The clothes are getting looser.
Yeah, dude.
Getting more comments. People are noticing. And so it's all in all a great thing.
I bought it. This is kind of crazy, and I know these style of shirts are meant to be bigger because you can wear stuff underneath them and whatnot. But we went to the Mariners game last Sunday for Father's Day, and while I was there, I went down to the big team store. Son of a bitch! Come on, Ryan. And I had a burp and then a yawn right to the head. Where's the sneeze and fart at? You know what I mean? Come on, just get them all. But anyways, and we went down to the big team store, and because I've really wanted for a while now, I've wanted one of the cream Mariners jerseys, with the gold and blue lettering and stuff. And so I was like, I want to go look at that. And there was a hat that I had seen online that was like that they dropped this year for the 4th of July.
Yeah.
It's like a really nice like sky blue hat with like a royal blue brim and then royal blue piping for the Mariners logo, the S logo. And then like inside the S is like red, white, and blue.
Nice.
It looks really nice. And it's one of the ones that has like the, like on like you see hats now that have like the rope right here.
Oh yeah.
Right, it's one of those, and the ropes. I think the rope's red and white. It's really nice looking hat. I really liked it. I really wanted it. So we went down to the team store to see if I could find them, and I wanted a Cal Raleigh cream jersey, but they didn't have one. Which now that I fucking bought the one and put it on, I'm like, fuck, I should have just tried on the medium, which is absolutely fucking.
You just said the word medium.
Mind-boggling to me that I could even have that thought. But dude, I put on the large. Like, I mean, I like tried it on. I was like, oh yeah, that fits good. And it's like, all right, cool. So then we just like bought it. Like I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
And then like once I like put it on and like buttoned it up and everything, like once we walked out of the shop area, and I was like, fuck, I think I could have bought a medium, and I think it would have fit me. Like, would I have wanted to put a sweatshirt on underneath the medium? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But I don't fucking wear sweatshirts like ever. I'd wear like a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
So I was like, I probably could have bought the fucking Cal Raleigh medium. Son of a bitch. But I was like, fuck, I think I could have put a fucking medium jersey on.
That's
and
awesome.
been like fucking like content with it. Like I was like, oh shit, that's cool. So yeah, dude, it's even with like getting on the scale and being like, oh fuck, I'm up a little bit. It's still, I'm like, dude, I'm at 212. Like I don't give a fuck.
You're a wrestling tackle away from
exactly
from your weight goal.
I was over 240 when we started this. You were over 260 when we started this.
Yeah,
we're doing fucking good.
Yeah,
we're fine.
Exactly.
So.
That brings us to
bells. Discount double check.
Ryan, what do you want to talk about?
Well, Timmy, I had Raw this week.
Yeah, you did.
There were moments. I'm going to be honest. I have 4 talking points here, and only one of them's a good thing. So there was moment. There was moment, but it was an extended, elongated moment.
Okay.
But we'll get to that last.
All right.
First thing, and I feel like you could agree with me here, but I also feel like it could be very easy for you to be like, what? This is one of the best. This is like one of the only good things from Raw type of thing.
I'm curious.
Asuka. I love Asuka. Let me just start with this.
Okay.
I fucking love Asuka.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm excited that she's back. For things that have almost nothing to do with her, I don't like it. I don't like her being put in this match the way that it happened. And I absolutely 100% do not like that she won this match. I think that I thought it was bullshit.
I agree.
Okay.
Not that she was in the match. I don't mind it.
And here's the thing. It would have been totally different if... Why would you not do a mystery person in this, in the women's too? Have it be this, and have it come up to the actual entrance and have it be Asuka's music hits.
Yeah.
Why are you fucking promoting the fact that she's in this beforehand in the first place? Because it's like, to me, you have somebody that's been gone for over a year. You are now like you're promoting that they're returning on this night and that you're immediately putting them into the Queen of the Ring tournament.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. That makes no sense to me. Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair both coming back and being put into the Royal Rumble. Sure, it's a 30-person Royal Rumble. That's about the amount of fucking people that they have on the roster for the women.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they need that to fill that spot. That makes sense. Shut up, Alexa! Fuck! Talking. Goddamn robots, Tim. It's fucking robot house. But in a tournament like this, where there's 16 people, you have almost or over half of the fucking women's roster that you could have picked from here. And especially with the fucking call-ups from NXT that they've done recently, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense to me. And then having her win the match, I thought was like, if it was a surprise entrance, like it was like, oh, fuck, and you could get that pop that like, shit, fuck yeah, Asuka's back, it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was, we already knew that this was happening, was to me like, oh, hey, Alexa Bliss is back.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
It's because I'm not talking to you. I'm just going to refer to her from now on as Bliss. Okay. Bliss is back. Let's put her straight into the Royal Rumble and win it. Mm-hmm. Which is what they did with Charlotte. But, and we saw how that fucking went, right? Then it was also, we were like, fucking Elimination Chamber. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's have her win it. No, they didn't, because it's not what makes sense. This didn't make sense to me. I didn't like it, which again, I'm kind of bummed about in the whole grand scheme of things, because I do really like Asuka. I think she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But it was just, and again, this isn't on her in any way, shape, or form. It's just on the booking and the creative behind it. I don't like it. Stephanie Vicker should have won that fucking match. Hands down. There's absolutely no reason. You just had her fucking pushed in. She won the fucking qualifier for the Money in the Bank. She's in the Money in the Bank, makes a huge impact in the Money in the Bank. And the crowd wasn't even behind Asuka here. They wanted Stephanie Vicker.
Yeah.
So I was just like, what the fuck, man? That was so frustrating to me.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree. I think it's just, you're right. Like, if it was a surprise, it would make more sense and everything. And then I still think there needs to be a pivot point. Like, Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble, like, it wasn't that big of a crowd reaction when she came out. And
yeah, and so, like,
you get plans built out way out in advance.
But you also have to be able to be backstage and listening to the crowd.
Yeah.
And, like, Triple H needs to be back there and be like, yo, with Asuka here in this match, they're 100% behind Stephanie Vicker right now.
Yeah.
Then you go into the ref's ear, because you hear stories all the time about this shit happening, right? I forget exactly who it was that I was watching the interview about, but it was somebody and it might have been MVP. I think it was MVP and Cody Rhodes years and years ago, obviously. I think this might have been on an NXT taping or something. They had a match, and it was like in the middle of the match, like MVP was supposed to win it or whatever, and it was like right up towards the end, the ref was like, Vince wants Cody. And it was like Vince did it as like a gag on MVP. Mm-hmm. But still, it's like, that's the type, like, you hear about those types of things where they're like, they do make those calls on the fly. That's why the ref has the earpiece. The ref isn't just out there reffing. The ref is literally like the person that is guiding the match.
Yeah.
And is telling them timing and telling them, hey, now you're here. That, like, giving them the spots and everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's all being fed in through them. So, like, you have that ability to do that. Why would you not do that in that moment?
Yeah. And I know the rebuttal is, they listen to the fans to an extent, but they also have a story that but yes, I agree.
But there's moments where you need to fucking, you need to listen to the fans, because
I mean, Stephanie Vicker is so well over right now.
Yeah.
It's like she's the most over woman right now, you could argue.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this talking point's not over. Liv's, she's actually fucking hurt. Mm-hmm. Liv actually got fucking injured from like the most basic fucking bump.
I know.
That's crazy. And that sucks, because she is still like my favorite. Her and Rhea are still like my two favorite women on the roster. Mm-hmm. So, and like, it was one of those things where it was like, at first I was like, is this just like a work? Is this just her pulling some like fishy shit? But then it was like, oh no, they fucking stopped the match.
Yeah.
Like, this is legit. God damn it. And then I've like read stuff that like, it's expected to be like a lengthy thing because it's a shoulder and like she dislocated it and she needs surgery. And I'm just like, fuck, man. Mm-hmm. She's the only interesting thing about the entirety of that faction.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, literally, she's the only thing that keeps that faction afloat.
Yeah.
Like Dirty Dom does a good job, but he's not Dirty Dom without Liv.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? So it's just like, what the fuck, man? That sucks. So that was a bummer. I just wanted to kind of point that out.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was just like, holy shit. The match started and it ended right away. And now she's injured. And I mean, now the tag titles are they going to be vacated or?
I read no.
Yeah,
I read an article about that. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. It didn't go into details about that, but I read that like there's no plans for them to vacate, even with
get rid of the titles. Get rid of them because Raquel got hurt. They had to like vacate them then, so they're not consistent with whatever that rule is, and so.
But if they do. It could make for a very interesting storyline here, though, if they do say, like, if they do the, what was that, the rule?
Freebird.
Yeah, the Freebird rule. If they're able to make it be like, oh, no. Like, if they make this actually a part of the storyline and Raquel has to just kind of fucking eat it and be like, if you don't want to vacate, then, hey, like, Finn's like, hey, Roxanne can fill in if we make her like officially make her a part of the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Like that they could actually fucking swing this really, really cool. And then when Liv does return, have it be like a full blow up.
Yeah.
It's like they could totally make this
that would
really
be the most interesting thing they've done with these tag titles.
That's for
because
goddamn sure.
I to this day don't know why they exist, and ever since its inception, like the idea was there.
Well,
and then it quickly went to the wayside.
And on Raw, Liv like was out talking about how that this is her division and all this stuff. And then was demanding a rematch for the world title while she's holding the tag championship. And it just goes back to all the shit that we've talked about.
They don't care about it.
The Raw tag titles and the women's tag titles are a joke.
Zilch.
They are. They're a joke. They mean fucking nothing.
Yeah.
They need to go back to, for the men's, just one fucking set of tag championships that both brands fight for.
Yeah.
Which is what they've been doing with the women's, but we haven't had an actual tag team, an actual women's tag team almost doesn't exist on this roster.
They don't even. No one's chasing after it. No one's going, I want the women's tag titles.
But seriously, is there an actual, not they're the Judgment Day and they're the only two girls in the Judgment Day, so now they're a tag team. Liv and Raquel are not a fucking tag team.
Well, there's technically now Natty and Maxine.
No, that's fucking bullshit thrown together. They haven't done anything.
They got rid of every women's tag. No.
Exactly. They're not a tag team.
No, they had one. They had one.
Okay. They're not a tag team.
And they lost.
Yeah, they're not a fucking tag team. Like, they're just two
Secret
people
Hervis
randomly thrown together. But
one.
that's a faction.
Yeah.
That's not even a tag team. That's a faction. And we haven't seen Piper and fucking Alba Fire in an actual tag match yet, I don't think either. Maybe
I
one.
think we've had, but
still, it's, you know what I'm saying.
It's
right?
very bleak.
It's just like, fuck.
Get rid of the titles.
Yes, get rid of them or fucking actually do something with them. Do better.
I mean, what you propose with the Roxanne does
it's
put interest, but there's no one challenging them.
Exactly. In order to actually have that be a thing, there needs to be people, actual tag teams challenging for the tag titles.
And wanting to chase for it. You don't even hear anyone talking about them. Yeah. Liv doesn't even talk about them.
No, very rarely.
All right. Sorry.
Next thing I'm going to read straight from this because I have a paragraph. This is my last negative talking point here. Goldberg versus Gunther Saturday night's main event. I put the just straight face emoji. For the championship? 7 question marks, all caps. Hell no, absolutely not. That's bullshit. You take the title off Jay to stroke the ego of Goldberg. That's fucking insanity. Who let Vince back into creative? This is awful. There's nothing good about this. This is going to be fucking terrible. It's not going to be good. There's no way this is going to be good. Goldberg hasn't had a good match in the WWE since before 2002. Mm-hmm. Like, he hasn't had a good match. He is not good. He never really was. a good wrestler. He was the original 5 moves of doom. And then you have a fantastic wrestler in Gunther, but what the fuck's he gonna do? Like, how is he, like, this makes no sense. It makes 0 sense. You took the title off of Jay to set up this fucking absolutely random fucking thing. And it is random. I don't give a fuck about the one moment where he fucking talks shit to him in Atlanta, Georgia. Like, good fucking Lord. That is not planting seeds for future shit. If there would have been more of a buildup to this, sure. But it was like the next thing we then got was just on Raw, where Goldberg out randomly fucking comes out. His theme song is fucking garbage, as it's always been. There's no pop. Nobody gives a fuck that Goldberg.
I would disagree.
There was a little bit of a pop.
The crowd was into it, and that's why he gets the smoke, because the crowd does pop.
It's fucking stupid. It is bullshit. There is absolutely no reason for Goldberg to be in a world title match in 2025. No. Absolutely not.
No.
Like, you could have had this exact same scenario with Jay still champion and had this match mean the exact same fucking thing, because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
This match doesn't mean anything. It does nothing for anybody. It does nothing for Gunther. If anything, this is hurting Gunther. Like, you put the title back on Gunther for him to be this fucking pawn. That makes no sense either.
Yeah.
This might be the worst fucking thing that Triple H has done since he took over. I hate it.
I don't like it either. Goldberg struggled to walk down the ramp.
He was fucking limping the entire way down. What are we doing?
And then, you know, he struggled, like he was out of breath given his promo and everything. So I get wanting an official retirement match, but it doesn't need to be for the title. They could have had Gunther versus Goldberg without a title. Jay could still be champion. Same result.
Yeah. And why does it have to be Gunther?
Yeah.
That's the other thing that I don't understand.
Just because of that moment. That's it.
But it's still like, but why set that up in the first place? Why is it Gunther? Why are you putting one of your best like literally, and I'm not just talking size-wise, because sure, you could argue that size-wise it makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about like actual in-ring work. You're putting one of your best, one of the top fucking people in this industry in the ring, in Gunther, against one of the worst to ever fucking do it. Yeah, Goldberg is a fucking absolute prime animal of an athlete. Mm-hmm. But he was never a good worker. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people who have gone on record to talk about how much they fucking hated being in the ring with him because he's so bad. He's too stiff. He's just, it's not good.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make any sense that you think fucking 20 fucking years later something's going to be better. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if anything, you're just risking injuring Gunther for no fucking reason here.
Yeah.
To literally stoke the ego of this fucking egomaniac who has always been an egomaniac, which is part of the reason why the locker rooms never liked him.
Yeah.
In Goldberg. So I don't know that I've actually like hated an angle in the last 2 years of wrestling since officially Triple H like took over. I hate this.
Yeah. Like
legitimately down to my core. I hate this. I think it is absolutely terrible.
I agree. I agree. The only thing I can think of, and it better not happen for Gunther's sake, is Goldberg wins the title and then Seth cashes in immediately. But even then, I would be so pissed off. I'm already pissed off for Jay losing the title. You add that to the mix where Goldberg wins the title, that would just piss me right off.
If Goldberg wins, I don't give a fuck if Seth cashes in right after. If Goldberg beats Gunther, I'm boycotting wrestling. This podcast will be known as Bourbon and Blockbusters. It'll be the Double B podcast for the foreseeable future because I will refuse to watch any wrestling.
Yikes.
I'm on record, Tim, saying that. You better hope Goldberg doesn't win the fucking title.
It'll be a very solo talk on my part.
Yeah, and you will be doing it without me here. I will leave after we film the other 2 segments, and you can have as much talking as you want on it.
All right.
But I will skip past it when I listen to the show.
All right.
I will not fact check it.
What's your good point of Raw?
Almost the entirety of the main event. I really liked it, man. First off, the Fatal 4-Way for the King of the Ring was a good match. I thought it was awesome. You got fucking Bronson Reed, Sheamus, Rusev, and Jey Uso. One of these things is not like the others.
Yep.
Right? And that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, this is kind of fucking crazy, because you have what would have been like, who, 20 years ago would have been considered a cruiserweight in this fucking match with these massive meat men, right? I mean, you're talking these big boys, and then Jey Uso, right? So you're just like, this doesn't really fit, but I think it's perfect for just like the character that Jey has built and the storyline that he's built, in the idea of just like, still, especially with losing the title just recently, is that like people don't believe in Jey.
Yeah.
So you pit him in this match. Now you're like, oh, there's no fucking way he's coming out of this. But he fucking does.
But then he does.
And I really liked, because you've had all this interference and all these other matches so far, and it backfired. That's what I really liked, right? Like, you get Sammy, who they fucked over, coming out. You get Penta, who they fucked over, coming out. You get LA Knight, who they fucked over, coming out. All just to fucking take out Seth Rollins, like the Bronson Reed, right? Just eliminate him and Braun Breaker from the equation, right? I thought it was dope. I really enjoyed it. Then you get Jey getting the win on Bronson Reed, which I thought was huge too, because it just makes sense, right? Like, that's what the whole thing that they're all coming out and interfering in this for is, and then it also saves Sheamus and Rusev both from taking an unnecessary L.
Yeah.
This isn't hurting Bronson Reed to take the L here, because he was just like,
had LA Knight there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You had multiple interference angles there, and then you get Seth coming out all pissed off, getting ready, and then, which was totally shocking to me, I did not expect this. Here comes fucking Cody. And I was like, oh fuck. So like, you get that whole fucking stare down between Cody and Seth, which I'm sure is some form of foreshadowing. Yeah. Right. But then after that, then you get an intense kind of stare down between Jey and Cody, recognizing they're now going head to head this next week on Raw.
Yeah.
The winner goes on to the finals for the King of the Ring in Saudi. Right. So it was, I don't know. I liked the whole sequence of it. I liked all of it. I just, like, from start to finish, I was totally glued. It's, I think, the only really fucking point throughout this entire show that had me like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh shit. And it was a long segment too, which was, I thought was good. Like, it was all like, it was, probably a half hour, if not more, of the ending of Raw was just this.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I agree with all your talking points. There's one I disagree with, and I'll get to that. But I think what this show was sorely missing, and I think it's kind of telling, which it's kind of a double-edged sword, is Seth Rollins is Raw right now. Like, he wasn't on the whole show until the very end, and it felt like that. It felt bland to me, the overall,
I agree with you.
overarching.
Yeah.
Even if Liv got to wrestle her match, like, I don't think that was going to change the outcome of how I felt about Raw.
Yeah,
I think.
Can I add just before you move on? It's also Punk.
Yeah,
was missed too.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't on this show, right? Like, it was there's multiple. I think there's multiple. It's not just Seth. I do agree with you that Seth is then that faction right now is huge. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely having Seth not show up until the closing moments and to do nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Essentially, outside of just be pissed off, almost have like a fucking vintage Vince McMahon walk to the ring, fucking taking his tie off and shit. Luckily, he didn't tear his quads getting into the ring. And then just to have a stare down and then back down.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's definitely a miss. That's definitely why the show felt like that. But then Punk and Cena recently both like have been, all three of them have been like the three kind of big, like them and Jay have been like the biggest moments. And then Gunther, but then the Gunther segment was fucking Goldberg and it was what it was.
Yeah.
So for sure.
I think they need to take a hard look at Raw and quickly revamp things. If I can't be the only one feeling that, that Seth is the show Raw, or Seth and Punk. You need more to
it's
that.
Monday Night Rollins.
Yeah.
And it has been for a long time.
And it's showing.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I didn't like, and it was more just, maybe personally, is just Sammy getting involved. It makes sense, but I was like, you have your match on SmackDown. You're putting a target on your back getting involved in this.
Yeah.
And I was like, this just hurts your chances. And all I could think about was someone's going to get involved in Sammy's match. And maybe that's good storytelling, me thinking about that and worrying about Sammy in it all. So I don't know. I didn't want him to get involved just because of that.
Yeah.
And it didn't come to fruition anyways, but
yeah. And I get what you're saying, but also they got involved in his match.
Yeah. No, 100%. Right?
So like it all makes sense.
It all adds up for sure.
Him and Jay are tight, and you know what I mean? So it all makes sense, but I definitely get what you're saying because like there has been this kind of running trend of people stretching themselves too thin and then it comes back to bite them, right? Like that was kind of the whole thing leading into Jay losing the title, which is still bullshit. Yeah. But you know what I mean? So
yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
That brings us over to SmackDown.
Much better show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Much better show.
Michigan, Grand Rapids, great crowd.
Great crowd. They were awesome.
Phenomenal crowd, start to finish. Love them. And what better way to start the show with the megastar himself, L.A. Knight. Yeah. If it isn't said enough, the dude is a megastar. If that opening segment doesn't get your loins tingling,
dude.
I don't know what will. What is the plan for LA Knight? Because he is still so over with the crowd.
He has not been over with the crowd since he fucking got over with the crowd. Like there has not been a lull or a dip.
And his current trajectory looks like a collision path with Seth Rollins. And that can't end well for LA Knight. I'm sorry, but Seth Rollins is going to go over him.
Yeah.
Because he's the big bad right now.
Yeah.
So what is his trajectory? Like, is he going to win a championship? Ryan, I'm putting you on the spot. Is he going to win a championship?
Soon or ever? What's the question?
I guess.
You know what I mean? Because he's not in the King of the Ring. So
I guess
that's like
within the next 2 years, is he going to be a heavyweight champion?
Within the next 2 years, yeah, I think so. I think so. I think he has to be. Granted,
it's got to be post Mania, right?
Granted,
now
Sammy exists.
Yeah,
so
and that's what they're pushing. Is that storyline?
Is, but I don't. No, yeah, I think he will. I think he will. Because you're not going to have someone that's already in his mid-40s take the Sammy route. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he's older than Sammy. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
And then take the Sammy route. Sammy's been doing this, for 20 years, whatever it is, and he has yet to get a world title. Almost barely have a realistic shot at a world title, right? I think he's only had... Has he had two?
LA Knight?
No, Sammy. Or is it just the one against Roman?
No, because he
faced Gunther, right? Yeah, okay.
So it's like two official
world title shots.
Shots on the show. He's had a lot on live shows.
But those don't count because
they don't.
titles don't change hands at live shows. So they don't count. Yeah, I just don't feel like you're going to put that, and especially with the fact that who knows when this Sammy angle is going to actually end with him getting a title. So it's like within the next 2 years, that still could be happening.
Yeah.
And if not, it's still going to be very shortly removed from, because I mean, you're thinking WrestleMania is probably the time that they would have Sammy actually win the title, because that would be the biggest moment. That would make the most sense.
Yeah.
If they're putting it on Sammy at all, then it would only be like within a year and a half from that point for this question, right? So it would just be too soon. So I feel like LA Knight will end up with a world title.
I mean, he full-heartedly deserves it. It just never seems like the right moment for him.
Yeah.
Even, to us, it's the right moment. Like, he should have won Money in the Bank, or at least in our opinion. But that's not the way it goes.
And I feel like there is another angle that we're kind of overlooking, and it's the fact that, was it SmackDown last week or Raw? Well, it wasn't Raw this week because none of them were on it, so it must have been SmackDown last week. LA Knight came out and kind of confronted Cena. That was SmackDown last week, I'm pretty sure, because it was Cody, Orton, and then LA Knight.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I don't know. There's that option there as well, that maybe we get a LA Knight Cena situation during Cena's farewell tour, which I also don't necessarily see going LA Knight's way. But there are 2 world titles.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like Seth is just like, he is just connected to the world championship.
But that might be the swerve is Cena. That's his, to get the title off of Cena before he retires, is Seth Rollins, So it will be interesting. I'm hearing rumors that the move is to get LA Knight on Raw, which is where Seth Rollins is, and it doesn't seem like it's in the cards anytime soon for him, and I want it to be. I don't think the fans are going anywhere on him, but it's just, the guy deserves it.
Yeah, he does.
He is
100%
so over. Cody, Jay, Randy, Sammy, that whole segment was gold.
It was great.
They did a fantastic job building up the semifinals to the King of the Ring for that side of things, and it was just, Cody barely even got any words in at all during that whole segment, but it was arguably one of your most over superstars. Cody Rhodes coming out, great reaction, and right before he starts, Jay music hits, crowd goes, which is nuts.
The most over.
Crowd goes.
Jay is the most over superstar.
Yes.
And
and goes nuts. You get Sami Zayn out to a loud pop.
They always go crazy for Sami.
And it's just like, my heart is just pulling for him. I just keep thinking about him getting his shot at the world title.
My God.
And
not even getting the shot. I want him to win. He needs to have world title gold around his waist. It will be a bigger moment than Daniel Bryan.
100%. And then you get Randy coming out just spewing. He's going for his 15th. And God damn it, I believe every single one of them. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm here for all of it. I like it all.
Ultimately, Sammy loses. I'm a little bummed about it.
Me too. I didn't like it.
And
it's hard. Because I love Orton.
Yeah, and here's why I don't like it, though, is because I've talked about Randy planting the seeds, going against Cody for a title, Like, that's a big story.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole arc of this looks like it's going to be now Randy Cody for the King of the Ring. And I'm just like, yes, King of the Ring is a big deal. You're getting a title shot at the end of it all. But it doesn't feel like that's the culmination of their story. It doesn't even feel like it should be a step on their story, right? It should be, that's like a Mania build right there. They have a lot of history together. So, yes, If they just want a good story going into this finals of King of the Ring, then it makes sense. But I think there was more story to tell with a Sammy winning and going against a Jay potentially, or even a Cody. Like, he has such good roots with both of them. That story screams more. And even if Sammy doesn't win the King of the Ring, you're going to feel for him. And that just keeps pushing that narrative now, for the, I haven't got a world title yet.
And here's the thing is I fully agree with everything you just said. But to play devil's advocate here, you can achieve the same thing out of this with what you just said. And you could also achieve more, I think, out of this. You're talking about the Cody Orton build. Mm-hmm. What better way to push this build than to have Cody beat Orton in the finals? Second year in a row, Orton loses in the King of the Ring finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? This year, last year, not even officially losing.
Yeah.
And then they just never did anything with that again.
They closed it out with Gunther.
Not really. They never got... Huh?
They did it at a PLE.
They never had a rematch.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah, I guess they did, yeah.
Triple H announced it, and then we're like, oh, why didn't it happen? It was like
that's right.
2 PLEs later on.
And then that was the reason I'm forgetting about it is because it was a very disappointing match because it went so fucking long.
Yeah.
That was that one.
It was
I remember
a long
that.
one, yeah.
It was like, what is going on? Anyways, neither here nor there. Still, to unofficially lose that match, right, last year, because it was like he wasn't pinned, but they did the pin and called it what the match was. To then turn around potentially this year, have Cody beat him for it. Mm-hmm. What better way to potentially turn Orton heel? And then you can have that build with Cody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be like the perfect way to push Orton over the edge.
It would be cool if it was another bad ending to a match where Cody wins, but
and then this time it's
an asterisk again.
Yeah, there's an asterisk again, and then you have Orton like really go off the rails.
Yeah,
because it's been teased multiple times now. It's been teased like how many times has he fucking RKO'd Aldis? The entirety of the angle with Kevin Owens, all of the punt kick seeds that have been getting planted, like, you know what I mean? Like, what if it's like something like that happens and then Cody's kind of like down celebrating, but like, catching his breath type of thing and recovering, and then Orton just snaps and punt kicks Cody to end the night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that type of thing could really propel this into the next, that next kind of stratosphere of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And as much as I wanted Sammy to win this because I agree with you that I do think it could have pushed the whole narrative there. Him losing, not even making the finals, him losing in the semis almost pushes that narrative even more. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's like, it's just that the entirety behind this angle of Sammy never having won a world title yet, and every one of his peers almost that he came up with is he's not good enough to do it.
Yeah.
So losing cleanly in the semis puts a little bit of a stamp or a little bit more emphasis on that, right?
I mean, it helps losing to Randy for sure.
Yeah.
That does help because he's not good enough to beat Randy.
Yeah.
And stuff. I think
see
that.
Still pushes that narrative.
I do see that. I think there could just be a little more depth to it if he got to the finals and can't beat Cody or Jay.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he's so close. And he gets that close every time. But like
losing
to Randy helps.
I think you can... I feel like Orton winning and then potentially losing to Cody and spurring that and still having the Sammy loss here continue to build, I think you're getting more out of it than if it was the flop. Because if you have the flop, now there's no setup for the Randy Cody build.
Yeah.
at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see that.
So that's just where I was, again, playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I see.
I think it's like we might actually be set up better for a more prosperous storytelling across different storylines in the future with the way it is playing out, even if I don't necessarily like it in the moment. So.
I see it. I got a heart for Sami Zayn.
Same.
And it breaks every time he can't make it.
I know.
So
I know.
kind of like in the same line of LA Knight, but just a little more for Sammy. All right. Jacob Solo. I thought this was a really good segment, not only for Jacob and Solo, but for Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Solo really sold his emotional part in this. I thought did really well. I know he got some, bad intentions in the long run of things, but overall, I think he did a good job trying to get Jacob back on his side. I like Jacob's retort to this and going, if it's gold, let's go.
Yeah.
And put it out there right away. Then you get JC coming out and attacking, and then following Jimmy coming to the rescue. And on paper, it just makes sense, come to Jacob's rescue. Solo's been making your life miserable. But then there was the part where Jacob goes for the I'm calling it the howl at the moon salt, because he's the werewolf moon salt. Get
Okay.
it?
There you
Howl
go.
at the
I
moon
like it.
salt. He went, and you could see a little hesitation from Jimmy, like, should I protect Solo? Because that's his brother. Mm-hmm. It looked like there was a little there. So there's story there for Jimmy now, and I like it. It. I mean, ultimately, I think, is he going to side with Jacob? Yeah, but I was a little excited to see that there's a little hesitation there.
Yeah.
Whether that was on purpose or not.
Yeah. And I don't know that it necessarily was, just because of the fact that you did get Jimmy instantly super kicking his brother.
Yeah.
So that also doesn't really make that much sense either, but I see what you're saying, and that is just like the intricacies of the storytelling into everything, and like you said, whether it was on purpose or not.
Again, might be reading too much into it, but I think there's a story there that they can build off of.
I liked the kind of hesitancy between Jacob and Jimmy. Mm-hmm. And that kind of tension too, because it's like, yeah, Jimmy just came out and like helped you, but also on Jimmy's side, kind of looking at Jacob like, you've also made my life a living hell, but they are currently, and then you have Jacob just kind of standing there looking at him like, jump. If you're feeling froggy, jump. Let's go. Yeah. He's like, all right, I'll take on anybody. I don't care. And that's what I love about Jacob too right now. Like, he doesn't give a shit who it is. He'll fight anybody at any moment.
Yeah. Well, we got that match at Night of Champions now for the U.S. Championship. I think it'll be a good match, and so I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Lastly, John Cena pipe bomb. Actually, just John Cena CM Punk build in this SmackDown. So first you get the yin and yang hype video of CM Punk and John Cena, which I thought was well done. Super awesome hype video. And then almost 14 years to the date of the original pipe bomb.
Yeah.
They waited till next Friday. It was exactly 14 years. But regardless, almost 14 years to the day, we get a match with R-Truth, a table, which happened 14 years ago. And then you get
the match was with R-Truth?
It was John Cena, R-Truth in a table match 14 years ago. And Punk came out. R-Truth got John Cena through the table. And he was doing basically what CM Punk was doing last night, just resting while the pipe bomb was happening.
God damn. All right.
So Truth has been part of both now pipe bombs.
That's dope. I love that continuity.
And then
they're turning this into like the Fast and Furious franchise, where you really got to pay attention.
And then you get Cena going off on the mic, and this is my favorite part of his heel run now.
Yeah, I don't know that there really was a favorite part before this.
I think when he first the
initial, right? That like the initial turn.
But I said it a couple weeks ago. I was like, or maybe last week or a couple weeks ago, this part of his heel run has felt different already. Like once Punk entered, like it feels more like he's not whining at the crowd. It's more heel Cena.
Yeah, and there's a reason I wore this shirt today, and it's because this is, and you just hit the nail on the head. This is what we have been wanting out of this, and this felt truly heel.
Yeah,
not just somebody bitching at the crowd. This felt truly like, oh, you're a bad guy. But what I thought the craziest part about all of this was, it's the night or like that match or that whole segment, whatever you want to say, started with it being like, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Let's go Cena, Cena. Right, R-Truth doing the back and forth. And then by the end of this, the entire building was fucking cheering for John Cena. And he even said,
the mood is changing.
The mood is changing, right? Like,
I fucking loved it.
And I was like, oh, this is different. Yeah. This is like, this is different. This is fresh. This is like, we are seeing Cena now actually get the fan base behind him as a heel, which we have not had yet. Mm-hmm. I don't think I will stand by this. I do not think we have had that in any way, shape, or form until last night.
Yeah.
So it was different. It was 100% different, and it was huge.
I mean, it was basically verbatim the same pipe bomb, just from Cena's perspective.
I know,
but that made it really cool. And
the hey, come here, and he calls out like the people from other fucking,
and I mean,
wrestling promotions.
Yeah, and it might be just coincidence, but the names are Nick, Matt, who are the Young Bucks of AEW.
Oh yeah, Matt Cardona,
and then
Nick
Claudio Castagnoli as CC, Colt Cabana. And that was another callback to his pipe bomb. So it might be coincidence, but even then, just bringing up their names in general was crazy.
Well, and how and I'm sure it wasn't coincidence. I'm sure that was all fully thought out, because then you had him say, oh, I hate you less than anyone you've ever shared a locker room with, something like that. So like that's all intertwined.
God, it was perfection on the mic, and I'm pretty sure CM Punk and Cena backstage worked on that.
Oh, I'm sure they
and
did.
It was just like, just go for it. But
kids, Cena just said a curse word.
It blurred that line so well, where you forget that you're watching a scripted show. It just felt real. It was just perfection, and I absolutely
wish they wouldn't have
it.
used the cuss word on bullshit, though. I wish they would have actually let him left the motherfucking building.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably pushing it. It was on USA.
I know, but still.
But I mean,
I wish they could have let him get away with
and goddamn
one.
in there.
I know, but still, it would have made it, because
it should have bleeped it out, because it just, that felt a little corny, but that feeds into Cena's character a little. But I think it could have used it. I
want to rewatch it back.
I've watched it like 3 times.
It sounded to me like they dubbed over fudging, because they have a delay.
Well, yeah, I watched it.
It sounded to me, and I watched it like twice. It sounded to me like they dubbed it over, and that I feel like he actually said it, but they dubbed it over.
I watched it on Netflix, and it was mother fudging, and then I watched it on the USA.
Well, Netflix just because it's on Netflix, they don't.
Well,
they don't let shit go. They still blank out everything that's said.
But they bleeped out
stupid.
They bleeped out goddamn. But then when I watched it on actual USA, because I recorded on my cable, and and it didn't blurt out, it didn't beep that out.
Yeah.
And then it beeped out right before Mother Fudgin'. So, I don't know.
Well, that's why so it did bleep out.
So it could have been.
That's why I'm wondering if he actually said it, but they dubbed it over.
Maybe. I don't know.
And turned it in. Because to me, it didn't sound like... It sounded like you're watching like an old show that does that, or like when they like put that into certain songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I was like, oh, shit, he actually said it.
It was gold. It was.
It was.
This feud feels
fantastic.
like it should
and
be.
then for him to then come back and say, yeah, I just ripped off your promo to make you look even more stupid. Like, to just add more to it, to just be like, oh yeah, by the way, everyone, I'm aware that what I'm doing is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I'm doing it. Fuck you. Like, it was perfect.
Insane that he came back to do that. Which
I know.
was fucking awesome.
It was perfect. It was seriously
awesome.
great.
Well, I'm assuming we both have the same banger of the week.
Yeah, before we jump to that, because I left kind of a hanging Chad here because I thought you were going to talk about it, but I kind of forgot how good of a show SmackDown was, and you didn't talk about it. I said that this talking point was not done yet because I figured we were going to talk about it once we got to SmackDown. Asuka beating Alexa Bliss, fuck you. Anyways, let's move on.
I didn't want to talk about that.
I just wanted to put a period on my talking point. That was fucking bullshit. Yeah. They're fucking saying fuck you, Alexa Bliss, to help her prop up Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
It's fucking dumb. Fuck Charlotte Flair. Alexa Bliss is 1,000 times better. Anyways.
Banger of the week.
Banger of the week.
Cena's
It's the pipe bomb. Yeah, it's the pipe bomb.
Easy.
I had the whole closure to Raw originally before SmackDown came on, and I was like, nope, this beats it.
Yeah.
This was one of the best things that we've had on a mic in a long time. So, and that's saying something because we've had a lot of good fucking mic moments over the last few months that we've talked about, promos and stuff. But this was,
the only thing I don't like about this is it feels like this should be the swan song to Cena's retirement.
is him and Punk.
Yeah.
I agree.
Just the little build they got with the history they've got.
With it's Orton, him, and Edge.
Yeah.
Who are the other, like, who else?
Yeah,
are
Batista.
but even I would still put those three above Batista, right? So I'm just saying, like, who else is, I mean, obviously Edge is not currently in the promotion, but like there's nobody else that is like worthwhile to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you already did Orton. You started it with Orton.
Yeah.
So it would have made sense, like, you start it with Orton, you finish it with Punk.
Yeah.
But we're getting it in the middle. So we'll see.
It just kind of fits.
See how it plays
Summer
out.
of Punk. So
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
I just loved it. All right. Belt's question of the week. I asked this. Which wrestler had a gimmick that should have worked but didn't? Who do you got?
This was kind of a tough question for me at first because I was like, fuck, it's a good question, but I was just like, I'm trying to think of people. And I think it was the gimmick that should have worked is the part of this that messed me up because I was like, I can think of a lot of gimmicks that didn't work and it made sense that they didn't fucking work. Yeah. Right? And this one, and I still, I think that this my answer fits this. You might argue it, but I think my answer fits this. I think that the gimmick itself should have worked, and I don't think that it did for what it was at the time when it was like a full run. Mm-hmm. And that's Boogeyman.
Okay.
I think if you had that character now, it would be fucking huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think of the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
The Wyatt Six. You have fucking Aleister Black.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have all these, like, dark, creepy characters. The fucking demon, Finn Balor, right? Yeah. Like, you have all of these guys. I think Boogeyman would fit fucking right in. But at the point when he debuted to his initial, like, actual run, it was out of place.
Yeah, because they were getting away from character. I mean, you rewind them back to the Attitude Era, he'd probably fit in there too.
Yeah, or even the 80s,
Yeah.
right?
Because, I mean, it was very character driven
Yeah.
in those time frames. And we're getting back to some characters. Not a lot, but it definitely, that was a big time where it was just, you got John Cena. You got Batista. You
Randy
got,
Orton, right?
Yeah, you just got big names and the
and
ruthless aggression, you know.
Yeah,
so.
and that's why I thought that I was like, I think it works for this because you're such a cool fucking character, dude.
Yeah.
I loved the Boogeyman and the worms, and he dropped the fucking the worm bins and shit down onto people, and
It was creepy.
his fucking crawling out and holding. Always had, was it the clock or whatever the fuck he
the
had in
clock
his
and
mouth?
bashing
Bashing his head, and it was just such a fucking dope.
Yeah.
Now you want to talk about somebody that could come back and deserves a retirement match? Fuck you, Goldberg. Give Boogeyman another one. Let him come back.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's a good one. I like that
Yeah,
one.
that's where I went with it. What about you?
I went with Samoa Joe in WWE. He was the perfect character, but at the time they're pushing Roman and Brock Lesnar, and it was like nobody else during that time. If you weren't those two guys,
Yeah,
you were a sideshow.
He was unfortunately he was in the WWE at the worst time of the WWE.
Yeah. Because, I mean, his match with Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire, the whole build up to that was so good, but they just didn't do much with it.
Yeah.
Like that was his only really shining moment was
Yeah.
that feud, and you put him in now, I think he fits perfectly. You put him a little before, during the ruthless aggression, he would have fit perfectly.
Perfectly, yeah.
It's just the time, arguably one of the worst times in WWE. It didn't fit, and
For sure.
and unfortunately it didn't, because Samoa Joe is so good.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too, man. That's good.
That brings us to
Blockbusters. Ooh, that was crisp.
That was
I
crazy.
like that. All right, we got a couple movies on here that I added. First one up, Bride Hard.
Bride fucking hard.
The synopsis for this is: for badass secret agent Sam, blending in has never been part of the mission until she's maid of honor at her best friend's extravagant destination wedding. Out of her element and surrounded by high-maintenance bridesmaids and a strict no-weapons policy, Sam is determined to prove she can be there for her friend, even if emotional support isn't exactly her specialty. But when a team of mercenaries crashes the party and takes the guests hostage, Sam is thrown into a fight unlike any mission before, one where she can't risk blowing her cover or ruining the big day. As she takes on the bad guys in a high-stakes battle disguised as a fairy tale affair, she realizes the real threat might be closer than she thinks. Now, it's Bridezilla versus bazookas as Sam dodges bullets, brawls and heals, and tries to survive both the armed assailants and the wedding planner's wrath. Some missions require the perfect cover. This one just requires the perfect dress. The cast of this, goddamn, what a synopsis.
Yeah.
Good Lord. We've had synopses on here that are like 3 words before.
Yep.
This one was a mouthful, but it was solid. It had me intrigued while I'm reading it.
Good thing you didn't have to read that last week.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I would have had like 14 takes. The cast of this is Rebel Wilson as Sam, Anna Camp as the bride that we are talking about. We have Justin Hartley and Divine Joy Randolph. The release date for this will be June 20th, and it will be out in theaters, if you will. Dude, the trailer for this looks fucking awesome. It's called Bride Hard. It's from like one of the makers of Die Hard, and like talking about like I read an interview with him like getting back to like that formula for this, and it's like an action comedy type look thing, and it looks fucking great, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, man, I wrote down that, you know, spy comedies are always a fun thing. They're just always fun. You got Spy with Melissa McCarthy, and just The Spy Who Dumped Me, you know, with Mila Kunis. It's just, there's so many different ones out there, but they always hit the right spot, and then just the play on Die Hard, Bride Hard is just an awesome. You get a reunion of Rebel Wilson and Anna Camp from Pitch Perfect in this, and it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a fun one. It legit looks pretty funny, so I'm excited for that one as well.
And you get Justin Hartley in this too, who I really enjoy.
Yeah.
He's in This Is Us. That's probably where he kind of broke out in, but he was also in Bad Moms Christmas. He was the stripper that Catherine Hahn fell in love with.
He was in Smallville, one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, and then you have Divine Joy Randolph in this, who is also in Only Murders in the Building, among multiple other things that she's in. So I'm excited for this movie. I think it's going to be great.
Hell yeah!
Next up, we have the Toxic Avenger. The synopsis for this is, when a downtrodden janitor, Winston Goose, is exposed to a catastrophic toxic accident, he's transformed into a new kind of hero, the Toxic Avenger. Now, Toxie must rise from outcast to savior, taking on ruthless corporate overlords and corrupt forces who threaten his son, his friends, and his community. In a world where greed runs rampant, justice is best served radioactive. The cast of this is Peter Dinklage as the titular Toxic Avenger. We have Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, and then Jacob Tremblay plays Peter Dinklage's son in the movie. The release date for this will be August 29th, and it will also be out in theaters. This is a remake. There were 4 original Toxic Avenger movies, and so this is a remake, a new modern take and spin on it, and it looks great. To me, it looked very like they're styling it out of the 80s. Right? Like, I felt like the action, the gruesomeness, the gore of it was very old school feeling, and it was done on purpose, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I said it looks unapologetically brutal and gory.
Yeah.
Looks like it doesn't take itself too seriously. And those are the movies that usually stand out to me. Is just
for sure.
If you don't take yourself seriously, there's no room to disappoint, right? Yeah. And so it looks funny. It looks gruesome, and I've never seen the previous Toxic Avengers.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But those were classified as B films, and so this kind of feeds into that.
Yeah.
But with the popularity of Terrifier, who this is one of the minds behind this movie, should be a fun one, and those movies are too. So really excited for that one.
Well, and also with how just big superheroes are right now, how big The Boys on Amazon is also. I feel like this has I feel like there's probably a much larger crowd and audience for this movie now than there may have been, 30, 40 years ago.
True.
So,
very true.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. Moving over to series, I filled out this part of the portion of the show. Untamed. In the vast expanse of Yosemite National Park, a woman's death draws a federal agent into lawless terrain where nature obeys no rules but its own. The cast is Eric Bana, Sam Neill, Wilson Bethel. Release date for this is July 17, 2025 on Netflix. I said now that's how you do a trailer.
Yeah, dude.
Because it brings you in, but gives you zero answers.
It was so quick.
It was
a very short trailer. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of breathtaking landscape shots.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Which I think really feeds into just what this is, right? Because where it says lawless terrain where nature obeys no rules but its own, and it really you got these in if it was just a National Geographic view, you'd just be like, fuck, this is beautiful. But in this context, you're like, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? You're looking at this beautiful nature, but you're looking at it through the lens of oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a new take. So.
Yeah, and it's called a mystery thriller, but is it Is it a murder mystery? Is it supernatural? It kind of hints at both,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
don't really
in the
know.
trailer
Yeah.
while not giving it away. You got a great cast in these three people plus more,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
so I think that means it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I liked it. When I saw Eric Bana, I was like, fuck, he looks different.
Yeah, he does.
You know, goddamn. But
Sam Neill from Jurassic Park,
yeah, dude.
and I believe Wilson Bethel was in Daredevil, right?
Yes.
I believe he was.
Wilson
didn't-
Bethel. Is he the one that played Bullseye?
I'm
Point
pretty
Dexter?
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wilson Bethel. I think so.
Pretty sure. The Institute. We're talking about Stephen King again here.
We are.
Another adaptation of his. The synopsis is a teen genius wakes up in a strange place full of children who got there the same way he did, and who all, like him, possess unusual abilities. Cast is Mary Louise Parker, Ben Barnes. This is coming out July 13th, 2025, and it's coming out on the stream platform MGM Plus, which
didn't
we
know
haven't even
That
talked
existed.
about.
Yeah, I didn't know MGM Plus was a thing.
I think it's an add-on you can add on to Prime. I know it's its own
I
thing.
unfortunately probably won't be watching this because I'm not paying for another streaming service at this point in my life. But
But this trailer reminds me a little bit of like the New Mutants that's under the Marvel umbrella. It kind of brings up like vibes of I Am Number 4, The Covenant,
Yeah.
the Chronicle.
Chronicle, yeah.
Yeah, where people with abilities and
and this is not probably something you're going to be able to relate to me with, but maybe a listener or two could. I'm a huge James Patterson fan, and he has like a line of books that's like a kind of more geared towards like teens. And I read them at some point in my life, but it was the Witch and Wizard series, and it was just like this brother and sister who have like witch and wizard abilities that there's like this new world order that like takes over as like a new government, and they are like getting rid of all these types of people. It just kind of had like when I was watching this, I was like, oh fuck, I'm like seeing similarities between things. And yeah, so it just like, that's kind of what I related it to in my mind.
yeah, exactly. It's nice to see Nancy Botwin back from Weeds on
Yeah.
the screen, or she was
Yeah.
in Blacklist as well. So
That's where the fuck I knew Weeds, but I was like, there's another fucking show that I love that I'm picturing her, but I cannot pinpoint it. Fucking Blacklist.
yeah,
That's what it was.
hell yeah.
I love that show.
We got
We got a
some,
handful of things.
We got some Fred.
We got some
Follow
Fred.
up rumors, early development.
Wait, I think we do. I don't think we have rumors. Oh, I should have added the one. I have one. I'm gonna say it.
You can do
I'm gonna
it.
say it. Anyways, first up, follow up. We got a new trailer for I Know What You Did Last Summer, Timmy.
This is gonna sound weird, but I'm almost a little disappointed. I'm still really excited for this movie, but I saw a lot of things that happened in the first movie where it's like just rehashing almost scene for scene almost. And for that, I was a little disappointed from this trailer. Am I still pumped for it? Am I still going to go see it? Absolutely. But I was actually a little disappointed from this trailer.
I agree with you, but I looked at it through a slightly different lens, and I looked at it in comparison to, what would it have been, Scream 5,
Yeah, Scream.
where there was a lot of similarities to the original.
Absolutely.
Like the entire opening sequence almost was very, very similar. Right? Like, you know what I mean? So like, I'm just like I think there's a point where you're so far removed from a franchise that you almost want this to connect dots. And I'm sure there's a reason why those moments are in the trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it makes the trailer familiar, but they're also not giving away much of what I'm assuming and hopeful for is what the actual happenings within this film are going to be that will make it different. That's what my hope is, because that's kind of how Scream 5 did it, right? It like had a lot of similarities, but then it totally was its own thing and made it its own thing. And it did a really good job of that.
The trailer for Scream 5 did not really...
No, yeah.
It did not allude... The movie itself, for sure.
Yes.
It was almost...
I'm just saying, like...
This trailer pointed out more things that happened, but
that's where I'm hopeful in that
Yes.
it's a trailer, right? And
Yeah.
how many times have we seen trailers where we're like, oh, fuck, and then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, that was completely out of context or out of place. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what I'm hoping that they're going to accomplish with this.
yeah, like I said,
Because if it ends up being an exact duplicate, then it's like, what the fuck is happening?
yeah, no, like I said, I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna see it. It was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Harold and Kumar 4.
Yeah, dude.
News came out that it's in the works, and a lot of the returning cast are coming back to it. The last we left off was a Harold Kumar Very Christmas or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was, yeah.
A very
Harold and Kumar Christmas.
was the last we saw of these characters. But again, we've talked about it before. Comedy is back, and so should Harold and Kumar.
Absolutely.
Which, just excited
Which
for it.
I will be so excited to see, and especially if they can get NPH himself back, just to see what they can fucking come up with now in the world that we're in now, and blend these two eras together.
Absolutely.
And in the fucking most funny way possible. It's going to be fantastic. So I saw this, I was going to add it, and then when I went to add it, you had already done it. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm so excited for this. I did not know about this.
Vision Quest. I actually read this last week as well, but just some information came out about maybe a premise of what the show is going to be, because we haven't heard a lot about the show and when it's going to be. So this is what we got. White Vision is in search of his memories and his humanity, where he travels to Madripoor. From this, he finds Ultron in his human form, and from there, the story continues. So it almost just feels like we're going to not really see the characters, White Vision and Ultron. It's more, from reading this, it seems like it's going to be a human version of these characters almost.
Well, no, I think you're going to get White Vision, because that's what the whole thing is based in. But the human version of Ultron is very interesting, which makes a lot of sense in the fact that one of the only other pieces of information that we've gotten before this for Vision Quest was that James Spader was expected to return as Ultron, which means we're now getting James Spader in the flesh, not as a robot. Which is going to be really... I'm really interested to see how you get Ultron in his human form when he was kind of construed via like AI essentially through Tony Stark. So that's interesting. So just a little blurb I got out there. And then lastly, for my side of things, Spider-Man Brand New Day has a new casting, and it's John Bernthal's Punisher is going to be in this movie, which I'm excited for. It's right in that realm of New York where Spider-Man and these characters should be integrated. So I'm liking it. That to me too, and hopefully, and especially now with the fact that the release date for this has at least not been announced, that it's getting pushed, that this is still expected to come out July of next year, is now pushed, and Doomsday is now pushed past it. Hopefully opens the door for this to remain as more of a ground level, street level, because we were talking about superhero
how it might not story fit in between there,
and not a multiversal extravaganza. Right. And having the Punisher announced as being in the cast for this, to me, almost helps me feel a little more comfortable with the idea that I feel like they are going more towards it's going to be a little more low key. So, I hope. I agree. All right, you got a rumor? I do have a rumor. I read that there is a rumor, and it's in the Marvel vein too, that Sabrina Carpenter has had talks with Marvel about a potential role, and that potential role would be as the Dazzler in X-Men.
That's awesome.
And because the Dazzler is like a pop star mutant that turns sound energy into her powers.
Yeah.
And Sabrina Carpenter is a huge pop star right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought that would be that was kind of an interesting thing, and could be. She has a look for it, so that could end up being potentially awesome. So
That totally makes sense. That brings us over to our special segment of the week. We're bringing back Small Screen Sampler. And we had to watch The Bondsman, episode 1. We've talked about this on the show previously, and this is where we just go back and watch something we've talked on. So what did you think?
Specifically? TV show,
TV show.
Series, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think of episode 1?
I will tell you first and foremost that this first episode, watching it, made me a little disappointed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the reason I'm disappointed is because I know that Amazon already canceled this series.
I had the same thing.
Because the first episode absolutely fucking hooked me in. You see how I set this up? You were like, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
I did not expect you to not like this. No, I fucking loved it. I thought it was fantastic just in the first episode. I'm halfway through the second episode right now. I think it's phenomenal. It's such a great premise of a show. Kevin Bacon, I thought is like fucking shining in this, in a role that you don't necessarily expect to see Kevin Bacon in.
Yeah.
The whole just idea and premise behind it, I love. I think it's super cool and unique and original. I'm super bummed that Amazon already canceled the fucking series. And like it was like shortly after it fucking premiered too. They axed it. I was like, fuck, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
So I was a little bummed when you said we should do this for this special segment, because I was like, fuck, I'm gonna fucking fall in love with this show, and I already know that it's canceled. Yeah. I knew before we did this that it was canceled, so I was like, fuck. And then I watched it, I was like, god damn it, I knew it. I knew I was gonna love it.
But again, we've talked about it, and it's been done where it could see the light of day, you know, but chances are slim.
Yeah.
And I did too know that it was also canceled when I did choose this, but I still wanted to give it a go because I was really excited for it, and it didn't let me down.
Yeah.
The first episode really draws you in. It's a great premise of it all, and I highly recommend everyone to watch it so they could get disappointed with us that it's not going to continue, because I mean, maybe we can start a movement here and get it picked back up. We need it to get picked back up. # save the bondsman, because it's such a cool premise. It's awesome. And just, it's funny. It's got action and gore and everything. It's just great. Yeah. I loved it. Agreed. That brings us to the Blockbusters question of the week. I said we are officially in, which I guess we technically have officially been in, the summer blockbuster season. I think it technically is from like May 1st to August 31st. Technically. I think it's when Memorial Day hits. That's when usually that I think like if you like really look into it though, I think it's like May, June, July, August are the 4 months. But there are some years within this where like it was a little wish-washy. Like there were things from like April and March that were considered summer blockbusters. There are a few of these years, which is kind of crazy to me. But anyways, so all right, summer blockbuster season. What do you think is the best? And when I say this, like your actual, like not the highest grossing, nothing critically acclaimed, nothing like that. To you, what do you think is the best summer blockbuster of the 2010s, which is 2010 through 2019? And I will add, because I did text you a special caveat here, because as I was like continuing to kind of do a little more research and just refresh my mind of all of the different summer blockbusters over the last decade,
I was like, I kind of feel like we got to break this into two categories, Marvel and everything else, because how many of the Marvel movies come out over that are summer blockbusters. You can make a top 10 list just based off Marvel alone.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, I want to go like, what's your favorite Marvel summer blockbuster? And then what's your favorite non-Marvel summer blockbuster from the 2010s? What do you think are the best ones?
So this is just two answers.
Two answers. Yeah.
Okay. Avengers
One Marvel,
Endgame.
one. Okay. You went
Avengers
Endgame.
Endgame came out in 2019. Is just a big culmination of that decade and everything. So I think Avengers Endgame takes that. And then I would go with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 7, Part 2.
Oh, I was like, Part 7. When did they put out 5 others?
Harry Potter 7,
Yes.
Part 2.
Yeah.
I would say is the other one that culminated the decade.
All
What do
right.
you got?
We're very, very similar here. For my Marvel one, I went with the most Avengers, non-Avengers movie.
Civil War.
I went Civil War.
Yeah.
Endgame is obviously like fucking amazing and fantastic. But Civil War, I think was just so huge. Mm-hmm. It was the introduction, which was one of the biggest acquisitions in the history of cinema almost, which was the acquisition and the introduction of Spider-Man into the MCU was huge. The introduction of Black Panther into the MCU was huge, right? Like there was so many of those little things that spawned so much more for everything. And just, I don't know, it really like you felt the ramifications of Civil War all the way up through now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're still feeling that in Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah.
Right? You're feeling a lot of that, which you're still feeling then the Endgame also.
Yeah.
But you're talking Civil War, which came out 3 years before Endgame.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah, 2016. And I don't know. I felt like it really set the tone for everything
And
moving forward.
I agree. That was high up on my list. Just personally, though, going to the theaters, the experience for Endgame was huge.
It was,
and then seeing all the videos of that same experience of just and still watching
and
it back then.
For me, it was that or
Yeah.
this. And I was just like, for me, I was like, I still think like, and part of it too might be a little skewed for me just because I'm like, I haven't gone back and watched Endgame again.
Oh, really?
Because it had such a like impact that I was just like, I don't know if I want to watch it. Like, I don't know if I want to watch it.
It holds up the rewatches.
Because it was such a fucking huge thing.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So like, and I've rewatched Civil War.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe that you could almost argue that I should have picked Endgame because of that exact reason, but I don't know. I went Civil War on it.
And then Harry Potter was the same thing. It was just the culmination of now that being its 8th movie of a huge universe. So what was your non-Marvel?
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. That one was easy for me. It's my favorite movie franchise of all time.
Yeah.
And I've talked about that specific movie on here multiple times. It is just such an impactful thing on me growing up. Like, I either read or my mom read the books to me growing up when I was little, depending on obviously the age I was. And then me and my mom went and watched like every Harry Potter in theaters together. So like I saw this one in theaters with her too.
Yeah.
Probably
That was back in 2011.
2011, yeah. I mean, there's probably not very many movies me and my mom have watched together after that because that was going into my senior year. You know, we've maybe watched a couple since then, but that's like the one primarily that I remember most recently was that. And so that's just like special thing in my heart, just going, that was me and my mom's thing for a long time. And I don't know, I love Harry Potter. So yeah, it was It was this.
I'm going to give you a runner-up just outside of Marvel and Harry Potter.
I have a runner-up too. I can give you.
Horrible Bosses.
It's so funny. Oh my god.
Fucking love that movie. It's so good. And it so holds up.
That is not my runner-up, but we are on the same fucking wavelength because my runner-up was Ted.
Yeah.
So it's so funny that we both picked essentially an Avengers movie. We both picked Harry Potter, and then we both went with a fucking raunchy comedy.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I was like, because there was a part of me where I was like, do I pick Harry? Because like that's the obvious one for me, and that is the one that I would pick. But I was like, I've talked about it so many times, like.
But it's the best.
It is.
Summer.
It is. But I was like, is that too on the nose for me? But I was like, fuck it, I'm going with my heart.
Yeah.
But that movie was one too that was kind of in that time frame of being like kind of on the downhill side, if not like fully kind of done with those types of comedies, but it was still like hit and was fucking a killer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
It's episode 55.
55.
In the books.